Welcome to ISRA League's Grand Touring Championship, brought to you by the Z1 Sim Wheel LCD display software. You can get these dashboards and telemetry displays for your sim rig at z1simwheel.com, where you can also find the LCD display hardware, as well as a fine selection of wheels that they make. Well, we're coming into this race here with Watkins Glen with Brian Carey leading the HPDs, 48 points there. Andy Fuller just 3 points down, and Doljan Boldrin in third, just 4 points down from Brian. Ryan Huff is shown fourth, Arthur Harriman fifth, Jeremy Burrows sixth, Anthony Munoz seventh, Daniel Quaroni eighth, and Victor Beltran ninth. In GT3, Daniel Renesque has a perfect record with 50 points. Warren Bateman's just 2 points down in second, though. Timothy Stoll has a little bit more of a gap, 8 points down in third. John Middleton and Daniel Gralti are tied for fourth. Then Mike Young, then Matthew Voigt in seventh. Then Luke Poole in eighth. John Kuzlin and Marty Jeffries rounded out in the 10th spot. Well, this is race 4 of our 12-week season, and it's season 12. I'm Daniel Quaroni, and with me here are Anthony Munoz.
Hello, everyone.
And Brian Carey.
Hello, hello.
All right, Brian, take us around the Glen.
Okay, well, we're without the inner loop this time, so we'd run straight down the back straight out towards the outer loop, so it's going to be a very, very fast approach, and very interesting passing these slower cars here, so we don't have the right, left, left, right chicane of the inner loop to get us all tied up, so it should be a pretty easy track to pass lower class cars. That being said, this is one of my favorite tracks to drive on iRacing. Very, very flowing, a lot of fast corners, really easy to get into a good rhythm, so really looking forward to the race here.
In the HPDs, Wyatt Foster has joined us after a three-week hiatus with a pole position. Andy Fuller joins him on the first row. Doljan Boldrin and Brian Carey on the second. Corey Davis and Jeremy Burrows on the third. Daniel Quaroni and Anthony Munoz on the fourth.
Daniel Vernesque, pole in GT3 ahead of Timothy Stoll. Mike Young, Daniel Gralti in the second row. Lauren Bateman, Chuck Chambers on the third. John Kuzlin and Keith Horner Jr. on the fourth. And Carl Mummer and Javier Torres on the fifth row.
You may have noticed Wyatt Foster then dropped in from his alien spaceship and has come to dominate us all.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to note that at Watkins Glen, the qualifying times are always really close together, because even though it's a fun and, somewhat challenging track, it is somewhat easy, and everyone seems to be able to do pretty well, but Wyatt Foster just takes it to a whole nother level.
Yeah, it's a really good track to, because there's such a big flow, it's wide enough. There's not a lot of switchback corners, so you kind of, let it ride, and once you get into that rhythm there, it's easier. I wouldn't say it's an easy track to drive because it takes a lot of difficulty to keep your speed up, but it's easier to run in a pack, I guess.
Well, I think also the high-speed corners really lend themselves to the HPD's style. And here we go, they're off. Wyatt Foster is pulling a little bit away from Andy, and it looks like Brian Carey is coming up alongside on the outside. He is a little bit farther behind, though, by turn 1, and so I think we're going to maintain the order up front there. Looks pretty clean in the HPDs. Looking back now from Doljan Boldrin.
Ooh, so close there with Brian Carey. I think a bit of contact as they make their way through the S's.
You can actually see the right-left quarter, the rear-left quarter panel kind of deform a little bit, or the wheel well, I should say, not quarter panel, it's not a stock car. But you can see it just deformed slightly, so there it looks like, and his rear wing too is bent a little bit.
Brian Carey on the outside of that long right-hand sweeper, and which gives him the inside. I think that will eventually allow him to take the pass. You can see Boldrin has to run wide, and that gives Brian Carey the pass. Burris also looking to challenge here, so they go into the heel, I believe. And Boldrin's going to have the advantage after this straight down on the inside.
Oh, it's the toe, actually.
Yeah, but Ryan looks like he was getting ahead. Although it's a very tight corner at the end of that straight, so it's not clear that he'll be able to get by. We'll have to watch the standings. Meanwhile, we're on board with John Kuzlin in the 6th spot in his Ford GT. And he's chasing down Javier Torres up there in 5th.
See John Kuzlin doing his thing in the cockpit here. Trying to stay as smooth as possible, especially in these early laps. That's one of the benefits too of not having the inner loop, which is a annoying chicane, middle of an otherwise flowing track, is smooth driving really pays off here. You don't have to hustle the car around sharp corners. You just like I say, you let the car ride, let the car do its thing, and just try to keep it right at its limit the entire time. It's a lot of fun. Arthur Hermont coming up on Ryan Puff right now.
Also here we've got a pack with John Kelly leading, Victor Beltran very close behind, going to pull and look to the inside. Generally, and there's massive crash there.
And unfortunately that was Anthony destroying his car, and looked like several others, including Sam Dignan, and was that Ryan Huff involved in that as well?
Let's see. I don't remember, but judging by the standings, I believe so.
Yes.
So that was loads of fun to do.
Something Anthony was probably not looking forward to reliving, but there it was, and it's over now, so I guess we can just carry on with our lives. Oh, Jason Molina running very wide in the outer loop there. I was about to say, just before that incident happened, that going through on the inside, Karl Mumbauer, so that Karl Mumbauer and Jason Molina having a great battle here, coming through, entering the boot and towards the toe. But yeah, just because you can go inside, you can go outside. Because it's such a fast corner, even in both cars, you can carry a lot of speed around the outside. It's a longer way around, but it's some good side-by-side racing and some very interesting racing. Although on occasion it does end in tears, and sadly we saw a little bit of evidence of that.
Well, my incident was more of turn the steering wheel all the way to the other direction to counter steer and it do nothing.
Also bad. This right here, though, Victor Beltran, John Kelly, and that is... who's behind John?
Jerry Morsdorf.
Great battle. How close they are. John Kelly coming back.
Yeah, he's looking to take the position back. He's got a great run going down the straight, which puts him ahead. Let's see. Yeah, but generally you can defend fairly easily on the outside there, but Kelly was far enough ahead where he would be able to take advantage of the more momentum going into the corner and moves himself up into 11th.
Just about to say there, with the, such a high speed as it is, around 295 kilometers an hour by yourself, with the draft, John Kelly would have reached roughly about Mach 0.7, so pretty quick.
Keith Horner Jr. now is getting a draft and now ignoring the draft off Javier Torres. I'm not sure why he left the draft there and then took the outer line. Well, he's close, but he could be closer now.
Well, part of that is, too, I know from kind of experiences, especially when you're trying to feel your way out at the beginning of a race. We're less than 5 minutes into this thing right now, is you don't want to be following right in behind someone, because if they break sooner than you expect, really embarrassing way to end your race by going... as we used to call it, Dr. Palacio. Unfortunately, Julio's not racing with us right now, but the rear end exam, as we like to call it, and don't want to do that right away. So you just kind of get a feel for where everyone's braking, get into the rhythm of the race before you start really getting aggressive on the brakes while racing someone that close. Matthew Voigt, no such qualms as he goes on the inside of Luke Poulin there.
Yeah, he got a much better run. I guess that was the toe of the boot that he severely outran Luke through. And he's going to try to make a move on the front straight. Let's see if he's able to do it. This is McLaren versus Ford GT.
Battle looks really good right here. I mean, we did some things to the McLaren. We had to add a lot of weight to the McLaren to make them run relatively similar lap times, which made the McLaren handle a little differently, and not to some people's liking, but now we're 4 races in. I think people are starting to get a handle of it. We're going to see some better racing between the two classes here. Or within classes, Tim Stoll and Mike Young battling for second position.
Well, you can see Stoll got the momentum to be able to stay in front, but Mike Young, I think, had to back off just a hair to avoid running into the back of Stoll as he made the turn in towards the apex there. So different lines working differently. Ooh, as Mike Young gets a great run coming off, going into the heel of the boot, or toe of the boot, rather. I was already corrected on that once. But Stoll does just enough to stay in front and hold on to that P2 spot.
Oh no, that was a nice big tank slapper there, but it looks like Marty Jeffries is going to take advantage of that. He's on the inside going into the heel of the boot, but does he have oh no, he has plenty there, so he'll take that position away from Matthew Voigt. Up to 12th position goes Marty Jeffries. Now that class is competitive, but Marty Jeffries and Matthew Voigt are battling for 12th position.
Luis Molina now on the tail of Horner Jr., and we're going to see once again whether he can do anything down the straight. Doesn't really look close enough, but nope, he probably didn't do it because we're jumping on board with Mike Young, and he's right now in third, chasing down Tim Stoll in the second spot, and it looks like he's got a run on Stoll.
Cool, you can see the track in his visor there, kind of at a strange angle, but sure can see the reflection of it, so that's a neat little feature.
You can see the draft working here as they head down this long straightaway. Right about there, as well as they would start turning in for the bus stop if we were running that configuration.
Yeah, Young lost a little bit of momentum in the S's there, and he made it up a little bit on the straight, but all it did was keep him right behind Stoll and not give him a pass there. All right, now we're jumping back to Colin Mumbauer, who's chasing Jason Molina, who's chasing Keith Horner Jr. And we've got some prototypes coming through, so now things are going to get dicey and interesting. That was Brian Carey dashing all the way through.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the race, was it's easier to pass these slower class cars. Because of the nature of the track, they don't tend to separate themselves, especially in the first round of lapping, as you can see happening right here. So it becomes pretty manic as you're trying to pass, look at this, like, what, 5, 6 slower class cars and tighter corners here, so it gets pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, Watkins Glen, I won't call it an easy track, but it's definitely a track where people seem to be able to keep it together and run competitive times really well. And so the GT traffic is really close together here, and so are the HPDs, really. So everyone fighting really close battles as we've got basically the entire field in a pretty small section of the track. Look at those HPDs. That looks like it's Corey Davis making a run on the inside on on Dolgen Boldrin behind Ryan Huff, and almost made a move on Ryan Huff there.
Well, Jeremy Burris actually in 4th position.
Sorry, yes, Jeremy Burris. I get their paints mixed up.
Corey Davis actually his first ever race in the HPD, so he's doing very well.
Now Mike Young's looking to get it done there, and tough to say what happened there, as usually a pass is the most interesting thing.
Maybe someone will explode. It is Luke Poulin, and he does have that skull on the side of his car, so...
Well, he also
that's
made a
never
pass.
Good. Yeah, no, it was a very, very good pass there on Carl Mumbauer, so that was for 10th position.
Just looking at the standings, Tim Stoll is still shown ahead of Mike Young, so I guess he wasn't able to get it done, and that's why we switched views. The director knows all.
The director is very fickle. It's like, oh, good, and at the first sign of trouble, nope, we're not showing this. Let you figure it out. That's why we're here, folks, to let you in on the what's happening off camera. And what's happening? Oh, Carl Mumbauer on the grass for an extended period of time. I don't know why he was doing that, but...
I think he just got on the grass accidentally when the HPD went by, and then he was being very gentle about bringing it back on.
I don't think that snapped back the other way. Did he go on the inside of Matthew Voigt there?
He did. So it worked out for him.
Yeah, he just... Oh, okay, yeah, with the traffic coming by, it's really hard to... Oh, that's tight. Bad things are about to happen, I know it. All right, John Kelly coming behind Lance Snyder. Actually, John Kelly, as we speak right now, is recording this broadcast with Lance Snyder, are in Road Atlanta, marshalling the Petit Le Mans. Well, not at this second because they're not running, but that's what they're doing this week.
I didn't realize John Kelly was a marshal too.
He just doesn't travel as far as the other guys. Tim Stoll's the other one, who's down there as well, with Lance and John. But John from the Atlanta area will, make those races on occasion. But as John would like to tell you, he's just a few years older than Lance and Tim. Actually, not sure how old Tim is, but I assume he's younger than John. Actually, I don't know he's younger than John, but I would assume.
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty safe.
I'm not trying to say you're old, John, but you are older than those guys.
Yeah. Someday I have to ask Tim what he does for a living because, and that was an HPD off into the wall.
He lives in Buffalo, so I assume he deals crystal meth, but that I could be wrong there, though, so Tim, you can help me out with that one.
Oh, boy.
And that was Jeremy Burris getting very, very sideways coming onto the front straight. And Corey Davis is going to have an easy time of getting by, no problem there. Into fourth.
Jeremy Burris is going to have a good run coming out of the first turn here, and there's a long run. I mean, look at that.
What happened there? He did have a great run coming out of the first turn, and took the spot back.
Well, I mean, Corey didn't, he had the inside line, so he wasn't going to come off that corner faster to begin with, but Jeremy really did that right, hung back, and got the undercut and just drove past him here. Corey's going to have another run going into the outer loop, I guess. I don't know. Of course, Corner's driving on the straightaway, so...
It looks like he actually did it. Unfortunately, we just saw a pass and some smoke.
A couple passes here, that's why.
Yeah, that's why.
Starting to learn the logic of the director here. Keith Horner back on the inside of Luke Poulin. So this is interesting, don't get me wrong, but a nice scene, the pass for fourth position. John Kelly. Whoa.
Good job saving it, John.
The problem is that
the drifting there.
It loses interest in any particular thing it's watching over time, so it's easier for something to take over, and that's probably what happened.
Would it make more sense to build up the suspense and when something actually happens, just stick with it? I'm just saying, I don't know.
Well, the pass, I'm surprised, I have to say. It didn't seem like that long. It's not supposed to have quite that short a half-life. It's meant to make it so we don't watch things for, minutes on end. But we
like a certain driver for a certain length of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Say half an hour of
it looks
Luke
like
Poulin
that's
and Keith Horner.
Oh, yeah. What happened there? They must have gotten together.
Good driving by Molina there to avoid both of those, pick up a couple spots.
I would say that Keith Horner got a look at the side of Luke Poulin's car and promptly pooped himself, thus causing a spin. That's how bad it was. And there's Corey Davis ahead of Jeremy Burris with Dolgen Boldrin in the distance with Daniel Crony right behind him.
Oh, we missed out on Corey's paint. Since I crashed out so early, I was hoping to be able to look at it on his car, but I guess we missed out on it for this race.
Wait, why? On your paint, yeah, but Corey's still in the race.
Yeah, I sent him a very slightly modified version of my paint job for this race, but it didn't make it. I say didn't make it into the broadcast.
Really? Odd.
Yep, he did a nice job of getting it somewhat close in the iRacing editor, but not quite the same. Maybe next race, Corey. You'll have to race with us again in the LMP so we can see it. Nice battle here with another nice battle here. This time with Matthew Voigt chasing Karl Mumbauer. This is a battle for 8th position in GT3. Ooh, it looked like Mumbauer was running a little bit wide there, but I guess we're going to jump back to the battle between Davis and Burris. Heading down into the outer loop, Burris is thinking about trying, wasn't quite close enough, didn't quite have the momentum, so he'll stay behind Davis for a couple more corners. Davis running a bit wide there, though, exiting. Luckily, didn't take too much curb, was able to control the car. Now back to Voigt and Mumbauer. Voigt looks like he is pretty quick right now, at least through the the boot section. Managed to close the gap there to Mumbauer. Let's see what the cars are like over the straight. Looks like Carl Mumbauer able to get a better run off the final corner there. The advantage in a straight line used to be with the McLaren. I think they're fairly even now, so it just depends on what sort of run you get off the corner. And Molina got a nice run off the corner there, going over the straight, passing Stephen Clark. Moves him up into the top 10, actually.
It's a good camera shot there of the a deck of some sort up hanging over the track. I assume that means something, but it would be a cool place to watch a race. But you really get a good sense of the speed there. Also a good sense of the speed as Wyatt Foster's rocket car comes flying by. Only 8 seconds ahead of Andy Fuller right now, who's in second place in the HPD, so Wyatt's clearly really drunk at this point, otherwise he would have pulled ahead by much further. Speaking of drunk, I have just consumed a bottle of Sleeman's Original Draft. Probably makes me drunk, but I'm just kind of a small segue there. If I name enough beers on this broadcast, eventually someone from some company will hear about it and hopefully send me a beer. Or lots.
But at this point, you'd be happy with one.
Yeah, I've got one, so maybe a few more would be nice.
Andy Fuller, who's making his way through some traffic. I also think I just caught Brian Carey's blue HPD. Yep, there it is.
And Matthew Voigt is all over Carl Mumbauer like a cheap suit right now.
Just can't quite find the spot to get a run and make the pass, though. He's able to stick really close. You can see he gets a nice run there through the first corner. No real, nothing he can really do with it. There as Brian Carey was making the pass.
Also much like a cheap suit.
I think let's see how he exits. It looked like he may have had a better line going through the S's, but Mumbauer is a little bit further ahead as they make their way down that long straight. So, yeah, nothing going to happen here as they go into the outer loop.
Also like to randomly point out, it's been a while since my random mutterings, but I am wearing a hoodie for no good reason because it's like 80 degrees down here and I am sweating like you wouldn't believe.
Really, it's quite cold where I'm at, which is a bit odd. Well,
it's kind of I'm in my basement where we do this here, and what happens normally in the summertime when it's warm outside, the air conditioner comes on because the air conditioner is in the basement first. The basement becomes like a refrigerator, but when it's not cold, or when it is cold outside, we don't have the air conditioner on, and for some reason, the heater's not on yet, but it's just, long story short, there's really no reason for me to wearing a hoodie, so picture this, I am stripping right now while broadcasting, so. You guys can imagine how far.
And I think I'll put up some graphics so they won't have to imagine.
A little diagram like they have like on how to exit an airplane. What Brian's doing right now is removing this. For your safety, please only take off this part, and if you have children, I suggest you leave now because this is where it really gets graphic.
While we were muttering about that, Matthew Voigt was able to pass Carl Mumbauer, moves him up into 8th position, so good job. Nice pass there. And Jeremy Burris is so close to Corey Davis. Let's see if he's able to hold on the outside. I don't think so. Had his brakes applied much sooner than Burris did, so that moves Burris up into 4th place for now. Davis got a nice run coming out of the outer loop.
And he's also looking better there through that corner, but it's not going to do anything for him.
Yeah, but if you can stick within about a half second of Burris coming through here, once he comes around to turn 1 again, he'll get the same draft going down to turn 1, but he has to stick within about, well, half a second to a second, I guess. Really just depends, but then you get the same run going through turn 1 and see how that plays out. Arthur Hermont in 9th position, nice strong move underneath one of the back markers there, and chasing down Tim McLeish, who's running a very strong 8th position right now.
We should note that Tim McLeish's done a great job in qualifying and keeping his position up this race. He's been very fast at this track indeed.
He's going to get held up here by traffic, but yeah, he's running up in 8th position right now. Actually, that may fall to 9th. Let's see what Hermont can do. Yeah, I think that it's going to be on the outside though, so maybe McLeish can hold on, but that really killed his forward momentum there, getting held up behind that McLaren. And he does lose the position there to Hermont, so, and doesn't quite make it through the traffic there as they make their way into the SSO. He might lose out a little bit there. Hopefully he can catch back up. Lauren Bateman, I haven't really seen too much of him this race, running in 4th place at the moment. He has Daniel Gralty just in front of him, and looks like he's going to have a nice run coming out of the outer loop. But Gralty going to stay defensive. Ooh, you can see what staying defensive does. Really loses a lot of the momentum you have exiting the corner. Nothing Bateman can really do at the moment. He's being blocked on every side, or every corner. And let's see. Yep, about equal as they exit that corner, so positions should stay the same.
I'm still trying to get used to Dan's paint scheme here, because he's run a few very distinct ones, running the Red Bull obviously last year, which was very distinct, and need to keep wrapping my head around when I see a quick cut here that it is in fact Dan and not either Mitchell or just some other car that I'm not aware of. Lauren Bateman, on the other hand, has a very, very distinct and awesome looking car, so, and that LMP was going really fast.
Ooh, it looks like
the S's will be key here.
Yeah, looks like Tim McLeish has lost out quite badly to Arthur Hermont. You can see the gap has opened up to about 3.3 seconds. So he's lost out quite badly to traffic, it seems, after doing a good job up in 8th position. Ooh, that's Lance Sainer, I believe, making his way around the outside of those two GT cars. He's having a solid race, running in 10th.
Oh, no, who is that off the side of the track? Is that Arthur Hermont?
Yep. So, the 3.3 seconds now gone, of course. I think he actually may have something close to that on Hermont after his mistake, which is actually pretty easy to do in that corner. I'm surprised we haven't seen a few more small spins like that. I think he was able to keep it out of the barrier and avoid any damage, so he should be able to continue on no problem. Only loss of time there.
See a pack of cars up ahead there. It's starting to spread out a little bit, and this is like at the beginning of the race when everyone's packed up and the first round of traffic came through. It was very hectic. That first round of traffic kind of split everyone up a little bit, so we're having our little kind of micro battles here, as you can see, between Bateman and Gralty. But looking through the field, there's a lot of 1.5, 1 second gaps, but oh, Beltran just kind of, that comes out of nowhere there. His LMPs are so much quicker here through this part of the track, basically flat out, no problem wherever they want, but Fords and McLaren's not so much. Anyways, I mean, we've got a lot of battles. This is the closest one under a second right now, but a lot of battles within about a second and a half. Just, I mean, there's a lot of them, and it's really not. Look at them. You really need to have the nose to tail here at Watkins Glen because of the high speeds. Otherwise, that 1.5 seconds actually looks like quite a distance.
Sorry about that. King the mic at exactly the wrong time, huh?
I don't think we heard anything on this end, so you should have said nothing.
Oh, I guess I should have. Whoops.
Play it cool, Dan. Play it cool.
Yeah, no kidding. It's always the first rule of entertainment. Don't apologize. Arthur Harriman is back up to speed now, chasing down Tim McLeish once again. We'll see if he's able to do anything. We're back to Lauren Bateman and Daniel Galti. We are 33 minutes left on the clock, so we're 27 minutes into the race. So almost at the halfway mark. We should see pit stops fairly soon.
And Dan is slowly starting to slip into his after-hours voice.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Hey, no,
I was doing all that on one breath, so I was running low.
No need to apologize.
Looking back, and Tim McLeish, that's a nice view. Very nice camera work there, Anthony.
Well, thank you.
Anthony's actually sitting on the back of Tim McLeish's car right now.
Yep, I'm holding on for dear life. I thought I'd get on one of the cars. Yep, yep. Except it's a little bit safer in these cars because there is almost enough room for another person to fit in the side pod, or the side, or the, whatever you want to call it, cockpit. So...
yeah, they junk it up with equipment, but otherwise there would be space.
Yep. I'm sure Tim is not too happy with me sitting on the back of his car, though. I'm sure I'm ruining his aerodynamics and slowing him down.
It's one of the things Anthony Mina is not good for aerodynamics. It does not produce enough downforce.
No. Maybe if I spread my arms out a little bit like wings, maybe we'd go a little bit faster in the corners.
I just start to be like a DRS there. If they have your arms out and the straightaways keep them straight, but as you enter the corner, just kind of tilt them up ever so slightly to get that... a DRS, if it were.
A DRS, yeah.
Much
Wyatt
like
Foster's in the background there, coming up on this battle, and it looks like he'll have no problem getting by them on the straights, I suspect. Back to Arthur Harriman and Tim McLeish. They just got around it was a GT having what looked like some problems. Oh, Arthur Harriman riding up on the curb. So easy to do there if you turn in just a little bit too early. These cars do not like to do that at all.
You see the pit stop ticker there popping up every now and then. It is about that time where we see everyone make their scheduled pit stops, especially in the LMP2 class. And Hermont has managed to close back up to McLeish. Oh, but as I say that, never mind. I was going to say he hasn't been able to really catch him. Oh, as we have smoke here and someone off that.
Young.
Yep, Mike Young off. Entering
that sounded
the
like it hurt.
Yeah, that looks like some pretty heavy damage there. It seemed to hit the barrier there on the outside quite hard. And I'm not sure if Bateman is taking advantage of that. If Galti was a little bit slow, but he's going to be on the outside. Going into the heel.
Galti is not... yeah, oh, he is braking in time. That was very generous on the part of Galti, I'd say.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you can try to fight the corner there, but, I mean, we're not professional drivers, sadly to say, but what that means is sometimes you try to brake really late when you're racing someone, you don't want to end up on the side of them. And Dan took realized there was a lot of race left, half the race to go, and realized that better to keep racing than end up on the side of another car. Sadly, that's not always the case, but in this case,
Davis getting held up, and that's going to get Boldrin very, very close. Looks like Boldrin doesn't get a go. That's got to be contact against the wall.
At least it'll change the paint scheme in his car. He'll have one black tire mark on the left side of that, whatever team he is. Boldrin, you need to, in the forums, tell us what your team name is. And also change the paint on your and Arthur's cars so they're different. Not that I'm bitter, but help us out a little bit there.
Just the mirrors, that's all we're asking for. Just the mirrors. Oh, and contact! Oh, and that's going to be into the tires. That's heavy damage there for Lauren Bateman.
Seemed really exaggerated for what it was.
Yeah, that's, I mean, unless he really, really overcorrected. Oh, nice little Easter egg there in Dan's car. Look at that. Look at a bunch of good stuff to look at there.
We don't do boats, folks.
Yeah, you thought that was going to be hidden, but it's front and center in the broadcast. I have no idea why I chose that.
That's a little Easter egg. It's a callback to, I think it was one of our old broadcasts, seasons ago, when we were talking about kayak. I think that's where it was from, unless that was when we were in the race server or something.
Dan's like inside office joke about kayak, about how it's, you know, it's a travel site, it's not a place where you go to buy kayaks, so they don't do boats.
A bunch of people are going kayaking on Friday.
So you guys want to go kayaking or canoeing? What the hell. Go kayaking, I guess. Who are we kidding?
Oh, here's Lauren Bateman still in the race. I'm assuming, right into that pit lane. So you can see there's quite a bit of damage there. I'm actually surprised that there's... I guess he hit the tire barrier pretty square, so maybe he was able to avoid any major suspension damage, and it's all body work. Although, I think the Ford GT has radiator... No, maybe it doesn't. Luckily, in any case, luckily he's not driving a Porsche, because if it was, the radiators would be busted.
A little nice wide line there. That's one of the things about turn 1 too, is because there's such runoff there, you can just jump over the curb, not losing any time. And also iRacing, I would like to point out that going that wide outside of the track doesn't get you a 1X is fine, but at Spa, if you look at the edge of the track the wrong way, it gives you a 1X, so logic failed.
Yeah, well, I guess it's because that's really, I mean, lots of people do run wide like that. I mean, that's how lots of people do it.
Yeah, well, Blanchemont at Spa, a lot of people run fairly wide if you were just a tad bit too off of that.
I don't know if that was a legal entrance.
Ooh, actually, you're right.
No, I think here at Watkins, I've done it before, I think the line in the pit entry is more of a guideline. Because it kind of opens up here and then there, it's fine. I've definitely done this, and as you come in, yeah, see? No, I think that's all right.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
I'm pretty sure I've done that 100 times.
And we're going to watch everybody pit.
This is actually kind of cool.
It is, actually. It was a neat sequence.
Lance busy trying to figure out which pit box is his.
And here we can look at the difference in times there. That was Boldrin doing a full second better in the pits than Corey Davis.
Now, did he put in enough fuel?
Yeah, that's been a problem for him, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has, actually. And I know because our team is coordinated, we all had the exact same pit strategy, and I know our strategy worked. So, Boldrin, what did you do? To McLeish and Arthur Hermont. Looks like Hermont was able to get past McLeish at some point, although he hasn't really pulled away like he did the last time he was able to get by. Of course, we don't know if that was down to traffic or if McLeish made a bit of a mistake somewhere, but right now, Tim McLeish doing a nice job keeping up with Hermont.
Took a little steam whistle from the water bottle there, the steam whistle bottle, if you will, and it was going to be a little bit tipsy coming out of the pit stop, but he'll shake that off nice and quick.
That's also kind of an annoying complaint I have for iRace, and with the HPD, for some reason, certain tracks, the TV cameras and all that, it gets rid of that middle bar bodywork. And see there on Boldrin's car, doesn't have it, where it normally separates I guess what would almost be the driver compartment of the cockpit, and that little bit of extra it has on the driver's left-hand side. Let's see, Brian, I don't think has it. I'm pretty sure I saw Corey's car have it.
Well, that's where I keep my drink and the.
Well, you can't this time. Your car doesn't have it. Yeah, see, there it is. It's missing.
I've got like a bag of snacks and stuff like that I can just reach over and they're like, that's why it's not there. So I can just kind of, when I'm feeling up to it.
I think it's a memory issue where if for some reason you're getting close to the memory limit, which is a bit, well, I guess it's the engine's a bit older, so the memory limit's kind of low for iRacing. I think it's about 2 gigs or so, and if you happen to be getting close to that, I think it starts to cut out certain things, so that may be the reason for that. But that's my random thought, a little different side of the spectrum from Brian's random thought of the race, but there you go.
Oh, Murray Jeffries up in 5th. Now, I don't know how all the GT pit stops are shaking out. Dan Gralty's the leader right now, so I don't think he's pitted yet. And so Marty Jeffries up in 5th. I don't know if that's a true 5th or not, as if I should indulgent boulder. Whoa, S passes. That's crazy. But gets by. By the time that GT car had anything to do with it, Indulgent was already passed. Still chasing down Corey Davis, who's still in his first ever HPD race. He's sitting 5th.
Well, Jeremy Burris has managed to pull out about 4.3 seconds over Davis, but still quite like Brian said, in his first ever race in the HPD, which is also something he managed to do when the first time he drove the F1 car. It also had an amazing first race, so.
Was that his first ever race in that?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So I know while head-down forest cars aren't Corey's favorite, he does seem to have a pretty good knack for them.
Yeah, he just tries whatever and does it well. It's kind of annoying, but that's why he's on our team, I guess.
You can see how he ran a little bit wide there exiting the boot. Lost some momentum, so Boldrin is right on the back of his car. I think he managed to get through the last corner though, okay. See if how he does turn 1. See what sort of momentum he gets going into the S's, because right now Boldrin is close enough where he should be able to use the draft and challenge as they make their way into the outer loop. I think he will be able to do that. He seems to be pretty close. Yeah, he's gaining as they make their way through the S's. Corey giving a little too much room there on the outside, I think.
You can see how Dolgen's rear wings are kind of, the end plates are bent in for maximum fastness. I don't know if anyone's a Futurama fan, but there's an episode where Dr. Zoidberg refers to turning the wheel left for maximum fastness. That makes me laugh every time. And for those of you who aren't, think I'm nuts.
Yeah, out of context, I don't think that really works all that well.
Fair enough. It's just something. Futurama is one of those shows as either you love it or you hate it, I guess. Or you watch it or you haven't. I mean, that's the other option too.
You know, the funny thing is my wife loves The Simpsons. Loves The Simpsons, but just doesn't really care for it, for Futurama.
Well, all Futurama was basically the same quality of writing and jokes for The Simpsons, but with more of a kind of sci-fi geeky background. So a lot of the jokes were clever, but under the, assuming you know a little bit about sci-fi.
And she loves Star Trek and Star Wars, so, I mean, I thought it'd be a perfect fit, but she just never got into it.
Yeah, I actually watched the first maybe 4 or 5 episodes one time, just to because I hadn't watched it before, and it was, I don't know if it's just it takes them a while to get into it or what, but it was somewhat funny the first couple episodes, but it wasn't something like, oh my god, I need to keep watching this sort of good.
No, I think it was by episode 4 that I figured that out. But as we are not in the year 3000 and beyond, we're going to be riding with John Kuzlin, who is very much from this time period, as is Jeremy Burris, who's come around to lap it. Look, he's just on for a Sunday drive right now, just kind of very smooth. We go back on board here. Not a lot of let the wheel turn, unwind it nicely coming off the corner. Not taking a lot of effort. Remember, previous season you mentioned how John Kuzlin is the master of getting fuel mileage, and I think that's what he's doing right now, is getting really good fuel mileage in this Ford. Because he doesn't make the car do more work than it needs to. Very easy on his inputs, very easy. Coming on the gas, coming to the straightaway here, not sawing at the steering wheel, like should be with some other cars here where you just see them you can barely see their hands because they're moving back and forward so quickly. It'd be a lot better to see, because part of the reason too is the lag. So I mean, it does look a little choppy, but that's more just the lag of the steering. You don't see the hands going back and forth. If we're in a native onboard shot, and for instance we're on board Dan, who recorded this broadcast, so you'd see that. You get to see his hands moving in real time and really get a feel for how it is there.
Yeah, it's not actual lag. It's just it doesn't record the inputs the same as it does if you're actually I
guess lag's not the right word, but like it's not as the fidelity, I guess, isn't as strong.
Nice. There was a little battle developing between teammates Corey Davis and Daniel Qualroni for 6th position.
Yeah, Daniel came flying up there from, I don't know how far he was back, but he is pretty close right now.
Andy Fuller goes by.
Molina.
Jerry Morrisdorf was the other guy that I was looking that also went by there in the HPD. He is not in the same race with Fuller. And Brian Carey, actually. Carey also quite close to Andy at the moment, under a second, actually, so.
It's really cool to see the cars coming up in the right wing mirror there. So fun. If you're on YouTube right now, just rewind it back about 30 seconds there and just watch Jason's right mirror and watch the LMPs come flying up to him.
And here's the battle between teammates now. Qualroni is... how far back is he? Pretty close, about 0.2 of a second, gaining in the draft. Let's see what Corey does.
You can see it right there, so...
Yep.
Whoa, there he goes. I think Corey's taken a little bit of damage at some point during the race, so he's a little bit slower down the straightaway. That'll set Dan free to chase down Doljan Boldrin, who I believe is also suffering a little bit of damage.
Oh, and again, counter steering does not work for Marty Jeffries. Luckily, there were no other cars in close proximity to run into the side of him, so he's able to continue on.
Hey, I mean, all things considered, he caught that pretty well.
Yep, Jeffries running in 5th position in the GT3 class. He has a very nice gap, which is, of course, come down after that, but it was at about 20 seconds, so he will easily maintain that 5th position in front of Carl Mumbauer. Also, Carl having a nice race so far. I'm not sure if he is still stretching his fuel. It's only about 14 minutes left, but nevertheless, that is a strong performance.
We're back with the Kelly Snyder race, and if this ends up ugly, you know that one of them's going to have it out on the other while they're marshalling the Petit Le Mans right now. Oh, wow, Kelly, how did he catch that? Looked like he was going to spin for sure. He's definitely closing in on Snyder. Only showing 0.68 seconds behind. And now down to 5.7.
Ooh, little... Oh. Well, I was gonna say.
He's gone.
So Snyder decided to change dimensions and see if he can move up the field a little bit farther in a different one. Oh, no, never mind. Changed his bet. Apparently, he was doing worse in the other race he checked on, so he came back to this one.
Well, and with that number, the 666 there, guaranteed it was not the Rapture. Or reverse Rapture. I don't know how that works. As you can see, I don't know if you can see from that helicopter shot there, but you can really see John Kelly's hand sawing at the wheel going through the toe of the boot. So very, different cars obviously, but very different to what John Kuzlin was doing in the shot we had before.
And it looks like John Kelly gaining on Snyder, and traffic is just about in front of them. Snyder, they're both going to get held up here, so Kelly may not be able to do anything. Let's see what kind of run he gets off. Ooh! I think he might have had the 2-foot magic save or whatever it's called there in that final corner to stop himself from spinning. Oh my goodness! That was a bit of contact there between Kelly and the LMP2 class leader, Wyatt Foster.
Possibly not the most well-advised move there, but hopefully everyone got out of that without too much in the way of damage.
And at this point, Andy Fuller and Brian Carey both wishing that John Kelly had braked a bit harder in front of Wyatt Foster, as he is 16.5 seconds in front of Andy Fuller at the moment.
There's John Kuzlin back again. Where's John in this whole... Oh, he's still in third place. Has he pitted yet? Because if he's pitted, this is a fantastic race for him, but possible that he has not, because I think the Ford... Did the Ford make it almost 50 minutes into a race?
Well, I know that the fuel tank is limited, because normally I think it can do 60 minutes.
John Kuzlin is the master of this, so...
Yeah, I don't know. At this point, it seems to me that I think everyone would have made their pit stops, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can't believe anyone would make it 50 minutes with the way we've got the tanks set up. Even
that's
GTs.
Yeah, that's the case then. Then John Kuzlin is really doing awesome right now up in third place. I mean, Javier is, not letting him breathe at all, but it's like, yeah, no, it does look like John's up there on speed and merit right now. I mean, he's only 36 seconds out of the lead, 24 seconds out of second place, but...
well, also remember that a lot of people up ahead have crashed out. We had Tim Stoll and Mike Young. Well, Mike Young's still in it, but he's down in 7th now, and Luke Poulin's nowhere to be seen at the moment. Which is not to say that third is not well-deserved here. I'm just saying that there are at least 3 people who were ahead of him who are no longer ahead of him.
Yeah, you gotta finish the race to get your places, so...
And Torres has been behind Kuzin for a number of laps now. And he's been roughly this distance. I think he's a bit closer now than he has been for the past few laps. But Kuzlin's been doing a good job of being like Brian said, he's basically one of the most consistent and smooth drivers that we have. So he's been doing a good job holding Torres off. Ooh, you can see, yeah, a little bit of tire smoke there from Torres as they make their way through turn 1. So he's doing a good job holding on to that third place position, not making any mistakes.
A big dinner tonight, so I'm a little tired right now, but I'm going to try to keep my focus for the remaining 8 minutes of this race here.
Ooh, this actually may be, yeah, no, not quite. I thought it might have been a bigger opportunity than it turned out to be, as Jerry Morrisdorf made his way past. Actually seems to have helped John Kuzin, if anything. Well, not as he was making his way through there to
Torres
the
is able to go to the outside.
Yeah.
But it's a long corner, so he's not going to have... Well, it's as close as it has been.
Yeah. See, he's right about a couple tenths back. They seem to be fairly evenly matched. Maybe Torres may be a bit faster, but I think he's making a few more smaller mistakes, whereas Kuzin is able to stay a bit more consistent overall.
Oh, that's a... who is that coming up in the LMP there? It's hard to tell. I think it was one of the...
Boldrin or Hermant. I think it's Boldrin. Number 8, I think I saw, so...
All it is 8s on that car. 8s and 0s.
Ooh, Kuzin a little bit wide there going through turn 1.
Cost him, but
yeah.
Tim Stoll making up a place, maybe? Well, Stephen Clark. No? No, Stephen Clark is several laps ahead of Timothy Stoll right now.
Oh, well, Kuzin able to hold on to that third place position. With 6 minutes left in the race, he definitely has made his pit stop. We know that for sure now. So this is a battle for the last of the podium spots in GT3.
Good to see the camera here, but when we're having this battle here with Kuzlin, with Torres right behind him...
Oh, and Torres spins going there into the... What is that? Heel? Something in the boot.
There's a spin?
Yep. I saw it in... Oh! Who is that? Clobbering the barrier. Yeah, so that's a bit of damage he's added to his car. But yeah, Torres spins going into that corner. Well, maybe not have spun the entire way around, but he definitely... lost quite a bit of time. He's fallen about 5 seconds back to Kuzlin.
Well, this is Crony. It's Boldrin. He's up to 5th.
And if you didn't notice, Boldrin was missing his front end there.
I did not notice that because we went by at possibly 300,000 kilometers an hour.
Oh, come on, the speedometer was actually alive there. You could have seen exactly how fast we went by.
No deal. There's Corey Davis passed. Well, like I was saying before, Kuzlin with Javier Torres there right in his tail, it would have been easier if he had had the view from Javier's car looking forward to John, but I guess that works. Hey, there's me.
Yep, so what is it? 1.8 seconds between Brian and Andy.
Oh, nice. We get to, yeah, we've been at this battle for quite some time, so cool. Notice how I'm not as smooth as John Kuzlin going into that corner there.
I don't think you can be quite as smooth and be fast in this car. Well, maybe you can, but I haven't been able to.
Well, that's kind of the idea. Is try to, because it's so fast and flowing, you just try to make the car as smooth as possible, let it do the work. But every so often, you need to give the car a little bit of a hurry up.
And Brian making up a couple tenths on Andy there over that straight, using John Kelly to help draft up a little bit closer, gain a bit of extra speed. Not really much in the way of traffic out in front of these two drivers, at least for the next couple of corners at least. And they are well ahead of Jeremy Burris by almost 25 seconds, so these two are fighting for who can be a step higher on the podium, really. Andy Fuller is close to 14 seconds, or Wyatt Foster is close to 14 seconds in front of Andy Fuller at this point in time. So, unless there's some sort of incident like we saw a little bit earlier in the race with Wyatt, he won't be losing that top spot anytime soon. And I think Brian Carey caught traffic just about perfectly there. I don't think that held you up at all.
I honestly have no idea.
Well, no, I was just judging by the picture. I don't expect you to remember. A little bit wild in the exit of turn 1 there. Loses you a couple tenths.
Oh, it was kind of strange. What you remember sometimes from these races, some of the finer details of, mistakes you made at certain corners and coming up in traffic, but not in that case. You're also noticing too, because Lauren Bateman 6 laps down, we just came around to lap them, and one of the things you'll have is your lap deltas your deltas to the other cars on the track. And it does tell you what position they are in class. It's just realizing I had no idea that I just assume I see Lauren Bateman, I assume he's fighting for up front. So actually, I just realized what Andy's next sponsor should be.
Tell us.
He's a big Del Taco. He's a big Del Taco fan. I don't know if you guys have Del Taco in your part of the country.
No idea what that is. Well, I mean, I know what it is, obviously, from the name, but
relatively
never heard of them before.
But
never heard of them before is what I should have said.
Yeah, he's from Las Vegas, and apparently they have a lot of them there. And occasionally, he's Washington right now, and nowhere near close to where he is, but he's always very excited when he comes across them in his travels. To the point where I'm looking forward to finding one at some point and trying.
Yeah. In his travels, you make him sound like some great explorer or adventurer.
I think he went to Portland once.
That is quite the adventure.
It's the Rose City, is it not? I don't know why that makes it an adventure at all, but anyways.
We are on the final lap, just in case you were wondering.
That's right. So Wyatt Foster in the class lead right now, followed by Andy Fuller by 14 seconds. So it looks like that is relatively safe. And about 2 seconds, as you can see right now, it doesn't look like there's much question of that. Well, there's some traffic here. But yeah, not a lot else happening right now. Looks like everything's pretty stable. Looks like John Kuzlin, Javier Torres, is caught up to about 3 seconds behind Kuzlin, who's right there. You can see it. They're right behind us. And there's Wyatt Foster coming across the line for a victory there. He will be boarding the mothership shortly and returning to wherever he came from, which I believe is Virginia or North Carolina. No, he's from North Carolina.
Does he really need a mothership to get back that to there? That's not that far.
I guess. I don't know.
Andy Fuller coming across in second place. Brian Carey just behind in third. That makes
Kuzlin locks up third place.
Yep. Puts him on the podium for the first time this season.
Victor Beltran comes home in the top 10, 10th position. Marty Jeffries, top 5.
There's Jeremy Burris in fourth place. I think I just caught a glimpse of Daniel Courtney, who's going to come home in fifth. And Carl Mumbauer does a nice job in GT3, finishing in sixth position.
Oh,
there he is.
Not.
Look at that.
Maybe not.
And Corey Davis able to get quite close there at the end. Those guys finish fifth and sixth.
Yeah, I held back a lot. I knew I was solid, so I wanted to finish safely.
Looks like we have the top 11 all squared away, and Daniel Verness finally crossing the line to take his GT victory over Dan Gralty. Dan Gralty's still driving right now, but as John Kuzlin's finished in third place, that's where he's going to end up.
There he is.
And Tim McLeish too, so standings.
All right, well, we have Brian Carey still leading, but Andy Fuller just 1 point down, so teammates battling out there. Burris and Boldrin tied there for third. Arthur Herman really in fifth, actually, yes, and Daniel Corn in sixth, and Ryan Huff seventh. Big jump in points down to Victor Beltran in eighth. Daniel Verness is taking the top spot with an almost perfect score here, 74 points. Daniel Gralty down 15, so that gap widening. Warren Bateman and Timothy Stoll in fourth, John Kuzin fifth. Mike Young and John Middleton tied for sixth. Marty Jefferson eighth, and then Matthew Voigt in ninth, and Luke Pruin in the 10th spot. We see the cars make their way home to the pits. The survivors, actually there weren't that many people who crashed out, so that went pretty well, I think.
I'm just happy I finished a race at Watkins Glen. Normally I crash 6 or 7 times and or run into people. I like to say, I want to point out for this track here, I don't know what it is. When I race, I'd like to try to race as clean as possible and not run into any cars. And for the most part, I'm successful. But here, I always seem to. But luckily, I didn't. Anyways, we're done there. Next race up, week break for Canadian Thanksgiving. Then we have, which just happened. Then Silverstone is a 90-minute enduro race. Then after that, Long Beach. Really looking forward to that first street track we've ever had here on iRacing. And Sebring, which feels like a street track, but it's not. Suzuka, Lime Rock, Laguna, Phillip Island for our final 90-minute race, and concluding on December 16th. At Road Atlanta to end that championship. 12 races this year.
Outstanding. And a great race, so lots of action all the way through. I want to say thank you, as always, to Brian Carey and Anthony Muniz for their outstanding commentary. I need to think of another adjective. I always call it outstanding. It was bewildering. It was bewildering this time.
Yeah.
And
baffling.
Thank you, too. That wasn't baffling. I guess bewildering is similar. Anyway, to the admins and the racers here at ISRA League. You can visit us at israleague.com and join us and race yourself. Find yourself made fun of in this broadcast by Brian as well. And finally to you for watching. So we will see you next time at Silverstone. Good hour and a half. See you next time. Wait, I have to leave this part in.
The bonus footage, folks.
There we go. You know why? Because I didn't sign off the way I usually do? Have a good night.